Facebook Live, so we'll see how that works and if it works better for people. So we will start with introductions of the board, and then we'll have our police fire report. So we'll start with Greg.
Greg Boyarchin, Placida Park neighborhood.
Joel Wise here with Glenn.
James Eckert, Frederick Side.
Cindy Claycomb, City Council Member for District 6.
I'm Denise O'Leary Seymour of Indian Hills River Bend.
Bill Longnecker, Sunflower.
Sean Rojas, Indian Hills River Bend.
Angela Martinez, Sunbury.
Sergio Laura, the Pueblo neighborhood.
Melinda Kellogg, Orchard Park.
Linda Matney, La Placida Park.
Anna, you gonna introduce yourself?
Ana Lopez, CSR for District 6.
All right. Community police report.
Good evening, Officer. I'm Officer Mike Johnson of Patrol West on the 11 beat. Not much to talk about in the last 28 days since I've been here. Chiefs, huh? Chiefs, right. Facebook, Bob, right? Okay. Anyway, the three things that's up in the city, and specifically out west, is one, larceny of autos. We're having a lot of weapons stolen again. That's a hot topic. And I know we said, why are you leaving your weapons inside? That's another story, okay? Two, and this is happening to more senior people, is the auto tag story. And what we're doing at the Patrol West is that we now have a special tag screwdriver. Okay, so if you know someone that's elderly and have gotten their license plate tag stolen, give us a call at Patrol West, and we'll go out and they get their new tag, and we'll put that lock on it and give them that key. So that way it makes it a little harder for them just to come and steal a tag. The other hot topic with automobiles is Cadillac converters. They're taking that and cutting them off. And now the big thing is the bigger the better, so they're even doing buses. So there's a rise in that. That's the three things that's a hot topic from the last 28 days since I've been out. Patrol West. Any questions?
Now, the license tag screws, are those available to anyone? Is there a place they can go get them?
I just know we were told that each bureau has. Now, the special key you can go buy, at a hardware store.
Okay.
But if you need one or you want one, it was telling us that we will take care of the elderly first and go out and do it. But I'm sure if you just go to one of the bureaus, they'd be more than happy to give you one, because there's not a long line of people asking for me.
Okay.
Why the elderly?
That's the tendency right now that they are saying that these are going after those plates. We don't know if it's the handicap plates, it's not specific to us, but they're just going after those. So we're just saying, we'll go out and bring on the elderly tags and give them the keys so they're aware of what's going on. Because most of the time, to be honest, who goes out when they start up the car or get ready to go to Dillon's or whatever, look for the tag? You don't know until we stop. Where's your tag at? What do you mean? Okay, so. Did that answer your question? Any other questions?
Questions for anybody in the audience? Questions for Officer
Chiefs fans? No questions?
I'll trade. Why do they steal catalytic converters?
You know how long this stayed in line for this happened?
Why do they steal catalytic converters?
The Cadillac converters is, what I understand, is some type of, is it magnesium? Is that what it is, magnesium inside? And they go and you take it to the side of the charge and they get topped off. This is the way up. And down south, down out west, south of Kellogg, we found a place that had tubs, probably around that high, around that wide of Cadillac converters. So we know who's doing it, but it's just so hard to catch them. So we do have leads. Yep. So when you hear a car going down the street and it sounds like it doesn't have a muffler, that's Cadillac converter.
So was this a salvage yard where you found the Cadillac converters?
No, this is a business that it's a big garage and they have like 4 different small businesses in it. And we got a tip and we was able to go with the lieutenant that works in that department, go down and investigate. And they got all the names and all this. And I was surprised they didn't make any arrests after that. But from my understanding, it's just a crime for them to cut it off, not to actually possess it, if I understand correctly. But they have the names, because what they do is they take them and they sell them in bulk and they go to Oklahoma or Texas or whatever. they get top money. Yeah, questions?
Hello, I'm also Stephen Thornton. I am out of the North Bureau. I am the beat coordinator for 49B. Officer Johnson already touched on quite a few of our hot topics, so he's going to save me a little time. Our major crimes for District 6, everything had a significant decrease. Commercial robberies, robberies with persons, aggravated assaults, residential burglaries, auto thefts, all of them had decreases, except for, I think that, not residential burglaries, commercial burglaries. Everything had a decrease except for residential burglaries. So, and it was a small increase. We had very small increase. So we're still looking at that. We have some persons of interest who may have been involved in these burglaries. The big issue that we had on the north side was on West 13th Street. On the 10th, there was a homicide. The victim was an infant. I was told I could tell pretty much everything that was on the news. We have one person in custody. That person was charged with first-degree murder. That's what I was talking. That person was charged with first-degree murder, and the detectives are still working that case as we speak. Another hot topic for the area would be auto thefts. The number's down, but we're still seeing quite a few vehicles being taken. And we did a car warming assignment, a couple of them, and within the first hour, this was the north portion of District 6, we distributed 18 if I were a thief flyers to vehicles that were running, and the doors were unlocked. And there was one particular vehicle, I put a flyer on it on a Monday, came back on a Tuesday, and it was still running. I mean, not from that day, but they had it running again. So this time I left the door open, I just stood there, and I was standing there for about 30 minutes until they came out. So again, I just code, please secure your vehicles if you're gonna warm them. It's gonna be getting warm in the next few months. Again, secure your vehicles if you're gonna pull them down. It's just opportunity right there. Somebody's coming in the neighborhood, they see that, they're gonna get in it and they'll leave. So that's all I have for the north portion of District 6. Any questions?
Anybody in the audience have questions?
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Officer.
Hello, I'm Officer Vicki Carter from the Patrol South Bureau, and I'm actually only filling in for Officer Nate for the hot team because they are all out of town today, and I was going to relay any information or questions that you guys had for them. So, projects that we've been working on, I'm further south, so I'm actually not your specific beat, but like 800 South Broadway, we have a few problem hotels and motels that we've been dealing with pretty high crime rates. We've been giving them special attention lately, and we've had the same crime trends of Cadillac converters, auto thefts. So that's pretty much citywide. Does anybody have any questions or complaints for the hot team that I can relay to them?
Good job.
Have you looked under John Mack Bridge recently?
Johnny Mack Bridge, I have not been under there recently, but
We had 2 campers yesterday.
okay.
One on North End, one on South End.
I know there's none under Perry Street. Because I heard the story, so. All right, nothing else, I'll let fire get on. Thank you guys, thank you.
All right, fire.
Good evening, I've got Casey Ostrell, Firehouse 3, Foot Street. We also have a whole lot to report. District 6 has been relatively quiet, 550 calls for service for us. 1 fire incident, 500 block West Central. It was a fireplace malfunction. So you still want to continue to urge people to make sure that you have your fireplace inspected and serviced every year before you use it. Check the creosote. Creosote buildups probably are the one culprit. The other is not having, if it's not a stone chimney, having the double or triple wall pipe that's actually required by code to go through your roof and through your attic space. Because what that does, once that heats up, it's heating up all the wood around it, the insulation, and before you know it, middle of the night, your whole attic's on fire, and we're showing up, and your neighbors beating on your door to let you know, because your smoke alarm's going to start to go off. So, still seeing a large number, and when I say large, maybe 1 to 2 a month, civilian fire casualties, people dying or being injured in fires. And the best information I can provide you there, make sure we have working smoke detectors, make sure they're by our living spaces or areas of egress. You know, it used to be that, well, it's still this way in the fire code for the city, they're required to have one smoke alarm in kind of a neutral area close to the living spaces. In your own homes, if you own them, make sure you have them close to the bedroom doors, in the bedrooms. Obviously, the kitchen's not our best place for them because then we'll get used to the false alarms. But they're in areas that are going to give us the most time to escape and then have a practice escape route. Obviously, we go around to schools, we preach this to school-age children, and as kids get older, middle school, high school, the message is not as effective, but it continues into adulthood. I mean, I could ask for a show of hands how many people went home and they know 2 ways in and out of their home caught on fire. Mentally prepare yourself. Nobody plans to have a fire, so have a plan. And the big emphasis again is once you have that plan, practice it. I mean, it may sound goofy, you may could be doing it to your neighbors, but when it's 2 in the morning, we practice for events so much that it becomes muscle memory for us. That's why we can show up half asleep and still function. It's not that way when you're at home. I'm lucky enough, I have young children who manage to wake me up at 3 in the morning pretty much every night, so I'm used to not sleeping all the way through the night anyways. But that's what I have for you. If anybody has any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Questions for fire? Anything from the audience? You're getting off easy tonight.
Thank you all very much. Have a good evening. Be careful driving in the weather.
Okay, public agenda, we don't have anything scheduled, but is anyone here to speak on an item that is not on our agenda? Okay, all right, we will move on to our zoning case. Welcome.
Thank you, good evening. For those of you in the audience that may not know me, I'm Kathy Morgan, Senior Planner with the Metropolitan Area Planning Department. The zoning case tonight is to rezone single-family residential parcels to duplex or two-family residential parcels located on the north side of West 9th Street between Sheridan and Gow. The existing parcel that's at the corner of the northeast corner of Gow and 9th Street is platted. There's property to the east of it that is on a parcel that is not platted. And so if the zoning is approved, then those two parcels will be replatted to allow for 4 duplex units to be built there. Duplexes require 6,000 square feet per building, a 6,000 square foot lot per duplex building, 2 units in the building. And so probably nobody in the audience has seen it, but I know the staff report sent to the DAB members does have a projected site plan showing how the duplexes are going to fit on the lot. And this is part of, this is not the first time I've been to this district advisory board about vacant lots or underutilized lots being requested to have the zoning change so that a duplex unit can be built and placed on that. And it's also part of the city of Wichita and Sedgwick County has a community investments plan that talks about land uses and how to efficiently use our existing water, sewer utilities, that kind of thing, so that we where we can, we infill to make use of those utilities so we aren't spreading out, having to extend utilities. And so this is, like I said, this is not uncommon. We've done this multiple times in District 6. Staff is recommending that the proposed zone change from single family to two-family or duplex is appropriate and that it fits in with our infill guidelines that we have a plan for to increase or to better utilize those vacant lots or lots that are sitting with vacant houses on them. They may have a house on it, but it's vacant and probably isn't up to code. So that's what this is all about, and I'll answer any questions.
Questions from the board?
I don't see any parking. Is there a parking?
I don't know if you got that. There should be, I've got one that showed how the parking is gonna work out.
I've got that one.
That's
That one.
Yeah, this.
Yeah, I didn't think this was much of a blueprint.
No, I've got one. Let me see where I've got it.
I mean, this is just like they show up.
Pardon?
Are the duplexes going to have, in regards to parking, the duplex is going to have garages also?
Yes.
Are they going to be like a double garage or single?
They're single
Single per duplex?
single per duplex.
And they're going to have a drive going on to Dow or
West 9.
Or 9th Street. So you've got two parking spaces, one in the parking lot, one in the garage.
Yes.
And that, I believe, takes care of the duplex minimum requirement, doesn't it, Kathy?
Yes, it does. I'm sorry, I thought I had an updated site plan with me that does show the parking is required to be on site. They can't claim street parking to provide for their required parking spaces for the units.
And the driveways are coming in from, you know, that.
Well, there's two units that are facing 9th Street. So there'll be a drive to each of those. And then there are two buildings.
Two buildings. And there's gonna be two driveways on the, in,
And then there are two duplex units. Excuse me.
Yeah.
There are two
hold on,
duplex units that face Gow. And those will have drive access onto Gow and the off-street parking.
other questions from the board? Okay, so here's what we do, particularly for those who have not been here before. If you want to address the board, you can come to the front and state your name. My role is to listen. I don't vote, but the DAB members do vote, and they have a list of rules. They're called golden rules. They look at to make their determination. Kathy can answer questions.
And the agent is here too to
Okay.
answer
If you have any
questions.
questions, the agent is here, and anyone that wants to speak on this can have 5 minutes. So, I know we have one person that wants to speak, so.
Yes, and so what, I'll just go ahead and start first and then allow others to speak after that, if they so wish. My name is Gregory Boyajian, 3325 West 9th Street, and I'm presenting in opposition to zoning case 2019-059. Factors of discussion: existing zoning and land use, character of the neighborhood, suitability of the application area, detrimental impact, if any, impact on communities, facilities, neighborhood opposition, and conclusion. This slide represents the staff report background statement showing location of TF3, B multifamily, and light industrial zoning with respect to the requested rezoning blocks. Continue. From the previous slide, recent SF5 to TF3 rezoning were recommended by the DAB6 and approved by the MAPC, in part based on location of existing TF3 zone lots, very close proximity. The number of duplexes built on the rezoned lots followed quantity and existing TF3 lots. SF5 dwellings dominate the local area of proposed rezoning and should not be ignored. Character of the neighborhood. The dots represent ownership lists addressed within the 350-foot radius limit. From a visual inspection, the majority of SF5 lots within the area defined by the ownership list are significantly larger in area than the area proposed for each of the 4 duplexes. Proposed rezoning lots are approximately 6,800 feet, and where several of the existing SF5 lots are in the range of 20,000 square feet. Once the TF3 and duplexes use is established in the local area with proposed duplex density, precedent is set for similar and future rezoning. Character of the neighborhood. Neighborhood development started late 1940s. Part of La Placida Park Neighborhood Association. Architectural style in the local area are primarily bungalow and ranch, using a mix of materials. In the last 5 to 7 years, lots within the vicinity are defined by the ownership list have been purchased and improved or were vacant and had SF5 dwellings built. Area is well established with old and new tree growth. The proposed 4 duplexes would be disproportionately out of character with the neighborhood. Suitability of the application area for use for which it is currently zoned. The staff report indicates that 2 properties would need to be platted to allow the total number of 4 lots to be zoned TF3. Though this planning procedure is applicable, it sets a precedent for other local properties that would be purchased side by side to have the same procedure applied. Residents within the boundaries of the ownership list believe that this procedure will encourage the purchasing of local lots and disproportionately impact current SF5 properties. Detrimental impact, if any. Staff report frames this factor as extent to which removal of restrictions will detrimentally affect nearby property, and notes that development standards of the Unified Zoning Code will mitigate any detrimental effects on nearby properties. This approach that the Unified Zoning Code will mitigate sets a precedent for the local properties that would be purchased side by side to have the same procedure applied. Residents within the boundaries of the ownership list believe that this procedure will encourage the purchasing of local lots and disproportionately impact current SF5 properties. Impact on community facilities. During moderate to heavy rain, West 9th Street North from the railroad tracks to approximately Gal will flood. This is temporary flooding, but lingers for a couple of hours. The city has noticed this issue and part proposed a storm sewer expansion in the area to the river. The project considered flooding from North High Street to West 9th Street North. High is just to the west of Gal. The addition of 4 duplexes plus any possible future TF3 lots in the local area will only aggravate the problem. Neighborhood opposition will be as observed. Information presented was honest and fact-based. Facts provided show that the addition of the proposed 4 duplexes on the defined lot areas would be disproportionately out of character with the local neighborhood and set a precedent for future TF3 zoning. Denial of this rezoning case is requested. Thank you for your time and your patience.
Questions for?
On the slide where you talked about the flooding,
Yes.
so how would what are you saying the impact would be if
The
they're
duplex-
duplexes, that there's more traffic and so.
No, actually, what will end up happening is the duplexes and the driveways will take up a lot more ground cover on there, so that will just aggravate it by runoff. So it's runoff into the street. That's good.
Well, just on through the area, I was looking at, right at the intersection of 10th and Sheridan. Looks like the newest development in the area, and that's a duplex going on there, and that's a pretty tight site.
Yes, and what ended up happening there, that this board recommended approval to that based upon the duplex that was just less than 100 feet north of that. Secondly, it was just a duplex on that single property, and it's well hidden or it blends in with the local SS5 houses that are already there. Number two, that duplex build is outside of the ownership list that was put out for individuals to know if they wanted to protest.
Understood, I'm just saying, this is a short distance from there, it's a duplex, it's on a pretty tight site.
Yeah.
As far as, taking that site up. It's got some neat design features in some ways, and the roof line, but it's a double garage duplex. I mean, it is a tight site for that, and this would be a tight site for these duplexes.
Yes, and in context to all this, we are looking at lots in the area that are 20,000 square feet bigger or in size, and that's 3 times, and have single family ones, and that's 3 times bigger than what these lots are being asked or being used for. So there is a real disparity between lot sizes and the density of the buildings going on.
Another question.
Yes.
So would you be opposed to it if it was only one duplex being built there?
Yes, in part because the lots that are across the street, in particular from this, on the south side of North 9th Street, are within the range of 20,000 square feet. And being that they are older houses, just like the house at the corner of Gow, purchasing the houses and purchasing 2 lots together, tearing down the houses and building anywhere from 5 to 6 duplexes would then be applicable to this area. Once the duplex and TF3 zoning is approved, there is very little opposition to say that that can be opposed. And that is similar to what we approved both at 10th Street and quite a bit earlier back in 2018 for that which was built down on Mount Carmel. There was 2 duplexes put in there, and then just north of that, less than 100 feet or about 100 feet, there was already 2 duplexes there. So that set the precedent for those duplexes being built. So yes, we would still be in opposition. I'd still be in opposition.
Any questions? Is there anybody else in the audience that would like to speak to this?
Well, I pretty much agree what Greg has to say.
Could you give us your name, please?
Oh, I'm sorry. Robert Edgington, my wife Shanabon. I'm the homeowner at 1040 North Gal, which is 1 lot north of the corner of 9th and Gal. And I oppose this rezoning too, because years ago, when I purchased this property originally, the neighborhood was relatively pretty clean and nice. I knew most everyone from 9th Street clear down to 13th. Well, I was a younger man at the time, and most other people were probably my age and retired at the time. They all took pride and they kept their yards and stuff up and clean, and you could trust them. They would watch one another. But it's grown to where apparently a lot of the zoning and the ordinances, excuse me, the city don't seem to have any care about keeping them up. you complain or whatever, parking in the yards, 4 duplexes, eight people, eight automobiles. Where are they gonna park? What are they gonna do, start parking in the yards like the rest of the people? And once again, 9th Street, it does flood. We can't get in and out of there the way it is sometimes in the middle of the night, or we come home from work late. I don't know what the other neighbors do, but you can't get in and out of there. So I agree with the runoff on the duplexes. And then originally, it was never meant for multi-family dwelling. And yes, we oppose 1 duplex on each lot would put 4 duplexes on there. It was not originally zoned for that. We accept a single-family home dwelling would be fantastic. I guess that's all I have to say.
Questions? Anyone else want to speak?
Hi, my name is Ashley. I live on the corner of 9th and Gal. I am opposed to this motion for these duplexes. I don't think it is what the neighborhood wants. I don't think it would improve upon our neighborhood. I am not opposed to development on the 2 lots, but I would like single-family homes. I am a first-time home buyer. I bought my house about 2 years ago by myself, not married, it's just me and my dog. I have a riding lawnmower. I'm very proud of my property. And I would like to see more of that in my neighborhood. I'd like to see those 2 lots turned into houses that someone like me or a starting family can purchase. When I was looking for my house, it was very difficult for me to find something close to downtown. I moved downtown and I wanted to be close to there. I have a 6-minute drive. I love it. So I would like to see those lots turned into a small starter home for someone. I know we do have a lot of vacant lots in our neighborhood, and I think those houses can be improved upon still. They're not as far gone as the one on 9th and Gout. But yeah, that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Me. I'm at 1023 North Cal, and I'm gonna be looking at these properties every day.
Could you give us your name, please?
Angela Hudson. And I don't think there's enough room for driveways. I don't like that anybody wants to look at it, it's gonna be shoved in. You give this little bitty park, they're not gonna use that. They're gonna be trying to park on the street. The traffic is atrocious anyway when school's letting out. There's cars everywhere, kids are running, it's crazy. And I mean, you know, you try to drive through there at 4 o'clock and people, it's just nuts. You know, they're parking everywhere, and with more duplexes there, that's just gonna add to it. It's gonna add to the chaos. I don't know how they're gonna put those driveways where they're saying they're gonna put them. It's just not big enough. It's just not. I mean, it doesn't make any sense.
Jane, Kathy, Jane has a question.
I just thought of a question. What was the percentage of property owners that were in opposition to the notice came out? How much feedback?
I've had contact from Greg, and I've had contact, I believe I spoke to you at the site. I've had maybe a couple of other phone calls.
Okay.
But I've been providing information to Greg as he requested it, which is anybody can request that information from the planning department on a case that's been filed.
Would you say the amount of opposition tonight is a surprise in comparison to what you leading up to this?
No, not really. I mean, this is something that's been happening not in just District 6, but all over Wichita. And yes, in our older neighborhoods, we do have residential lots that are larger. But some of those lots, the zoning districts say that in order to have a single family house, it only has to be 5,000 square feet. two-family, a duplex is 6,000 square feet. So you may have that pattern, that larger lot pattern, and it still be single family. The thing of it is how we're evaluating these cases is that the property owner, if they want to sell it or if they want to redevelop it, they go through a process, so they go through these hearings to give neighbors an opportunity to voice their opinion on changing the zoning from single family to duplex, or whether it's limited commercial to general commercial. And so it's a process. You have to look at it that way. And I want to emphasize that this case is going to be heard at the Metropolitan Area Planning Commission meeting this Thursday. That meeting starts at 1:30.
And everybody works at 1:30, that's why we're here.
Okay, so what I want you to know is one of the ways that you need to make your voice heard is you need to file a valid protest petition. And I believe that Anna, yes, you have, after the planning commission is completed, then there's 14 days that you have to file with the city clerk's office so that we can register
So
those
you want us to
protests.
wait till you've already said okay, and then we're gonna protest?
Well, this
That's what
is,
you're
okay,
telling me?
this is a zoning case, so it cannot be finalized by the planning commission. The planning commission is gonna make a recommendation to the city council. And so the city council can then, what's the word I'm looking for? Consider other issues about the zoning case. And if there are enough protests within 200 feet,
350 feet.
no, the notification is 350 feet. Where the legal protest area comes is from 250 feet or 200 feet around the property. So
You have the majority of those in this room.
well, then the majority of you guys need to get one of those protest petitions and fill it out correctly and get it filed with the city clerk's office.
I have lived there 15 years. Why do you have the right to come into my neighborhood and tell me that this is what we have to do?
Ma'am, it's not your property though. So it's your neighborhood, but someone else owns that property. And so I'm not saying right or wrong, I'm just saying that is the case. And so the planning commission hears the case, they don't have final say on this. You all have the opportunity to do the protest, as Kathy suggested.
This is standard procedure for any property in the city of Wichita. So, this is just your opportunity to make your voice heard. So the DAB will make a recommendation, then it'll go to MAPC on Thursday. Based on their decision, you're able to challenge it if it's against what you want. And then that decision plus your challenge will go to the city council, and then they'll take both of those into account, and then they'll make their decision.
And we take this board, so this board is an advisory board, we take this board's vote into account too.
One thing that you guys can also do if you're not able to attend MAPC on Thursday, you can also email or write a letter, and then those are given to MAPC, and they do read those and take them into consideration if you're not able to attend the meeting.
Yes, they do that, but it does not replace filing the protest petition. And that includes the property owner's name, and if there's more than one property owner listed for that lot on the county tax records, all property owners have to sign it, and you have to have a legal, then it's somebody that represents their estate, and you show, provide a death certificate or whatever. But if you have questions about that, that's something that you can call our office, which you have that number on the letter that was sent out, and specifically find out what you're gonna need to do if that's the case, if the owners are deceased and you're acting on their behalf.
should be noted that you can't file a protest till after the planning commission makes a recommendation Thursday. Now, you can request from the planning department a copy of the ownership list, which is going to have all the information you need to fill out a formal protest. And keep in mind that it only requires 20% of that land area within that 200-foot protest area to kick in the city council having to have a majority of them override it, as well as the planning commission. That's hypothetical if it's approved by the planning commission. So you got what you need in regards to getting legal and the ownership off that list. And Kathy's there to walk you through that. And again, you know, this is somebody's property that got vacant house on it. They're looking to redevelopment. The comp plan recognized duplex as the same type of density as single-family residential. But again, I mean, the process allows this type of participations, and it continues beyond this, but you need to stay on top of it and active to see what goes on.
And I want to point out again that the agent for this case is here if you have any specific questions about how the site is going to be developed or anything like that.
Anybody on the board have questions for the agent?
I'd like to.
You like to hear from the agent?
Yeah.
On the agents, answer any questions. Sorry, I couldn't. I'm Kirk Miller with Tate Miller Engineering. I'll be glad to try to answer any questions.
Yeah, are the duplexes going to have shared drives, or are they going to have separate drives? Just curious.
What we're looking at right now would be like 36-foot wide going in the front, but which would really give room for 4 parking places, kind of shared drives, and then you still have the 2 one-car garages. So you could actually get 6 cars.
So we're going to have
For each building.
We're going to have a shared drive between the two, which allows for an extra parking space between the two.
Right.
Right.
Or on each end, however the layout is. So yeah. That's what we're looking at now is 6 per building. That's what he's typically done in the past with what he's within his 2 places.
So we've got the parking requirement. I mean, I don't know what to do about the runoff. You're going to have runoff wherever you go in this area with any kind of development. Any design or materials considerations, straight lap siding, any?
I don't know what he has as far as that. I do know he's looking at 2 bedrooms for each unit. Construction cost is going to be about $100,000 for each side. About 1,200 to 1,300 square feet.
Slab construction.
He's been doing basements.
Really?
Yeah. He says they're easier.
Are these rental or are they to be sold?
Sir, hold on just a minute. Let's let the board ask their questions first, then we'll come back to you. Thank you.
That's what I got.
Okay. Anything else from the board? Yes.
Was the urban infill study referred to in the planning?
We're not, did we look at the urban infill study?
Yeah, that is part of the consideration when staff makes recommendation about zone changes.
And if I remember correctly in that study, it was emphasized that any additions or infill should be in character of the neighborhood, the architecture should be.
Yes, there is reference to that. There is reference to that. So in SF5 and or TF3, the maximum ridge height on a roof is 35 feet. So it's those types of things, having a gabled roof, appropriate siding materials like, you know, masonry veneer or a lap siding profile, those types of things.
Thank you.
I have a question. How much, is there gonna be yard space and will it be fenced?
There will be a little bit of yard. I don't know about the fencing. I doubt that it'll be fenced.
Anything else from the board?
One last question. One of the things that's quite apparent to me is that quite a few trees will have to be removed. Is there anything in the plan to replace those trees, either along Ninth Street and or along Gal?
That would be up to the builder. I can't answer that.
All right, questions from the audience now, sir.
Yes, sir. Are these to be rental property or are they to be sold?
I'm guessing they'll probably be rentals. He has some rental properties, so I'm guessing it'll be rentals.
So it'll be rental property.
I'm guessing.
Okay, now my next question, if I may, what do these, what's the estimated rental price per unit?
When I have that, let's see. I don't know the answer to that.
You said that was.
Can you answer this?
Sir, just,
what-
but he did say, I think he did say, doesn't say what the rental cost would be, but the price is about 100,000 per unit.
Construction.
Construction. So that means per side, right?
Right.
So the entire,
The whole project would be about 80,000 construction cost.
all right, yes.
Now, the next question is, what, assuming these are built, what will they do to the value of the existing homes?
I don't know.
I don't know either. That's why I'm asking the question.
Yeah.
Then the next question after that is, if they increase it, how much of the rest of our taxes are gonna go up? Or if they, over the years, they become like the rest of the neighborhood, the value goes down, but our taxes won't.
The only thing I can say about the taxes is because that is a difficult thing to answer. However, each year you have the opportunity, if you have a new construction that's gone in your neighborhood and it affects the appraisal of your house, then you have the right to go into the appraiser's office and say, this is not comparable. This is what my house is. There's no way that my house increased by X amount of value. I know it's a pain. I've had to do that with mine. So, but there is that process.
I just was curious, on these, is it gonna have city water or is it gonna just be our well?
It has utilities, city and sewer, or water and sewer.
So how does that work? I don't have city water.
Well, everybody in the city has to have the ability to be connected to city water.
No,
Is that not true, Kathy?
that is not true because I don't have city water. I only have well water. And my property isn't allowed to have it because they didn't pay the, somebody.
Right, there's an assessment that
15, 20 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah, so this property does, if you look at the aerials for the city and what we call our geographical information system, it shows where water sewers, where water mains are located. And so the thing of it is, it could be in proximity to your property, but the property owner has to agree to pay a fee to get connected to that.
And I asked to do that. I did that when I moved in, and I still can't have city water.
Okay, so we're not, that's not a.
Well, no, I was just
tonight,
curious
so-
because I don't understand how they can,
Yeah, so,
it was just,
yeah, they have water and sewer. This project will have, be connected to city water and sewer. Correct? Yeah, okay. All right. Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Can you give us your name?
my name is Shanda Vaughn Edgington. Yeah, I'm a homeowner, 1040 North Gal. Every day I came back from work, so my house is about a block from school, so we use the same street come from west or north, from the west street, right? So I come from Superlawan. Okay, so from the east, whatever, yeah. So every day I came from is about school time and then get off from work, and then the traffic really impact right there. So according to, in front of my house, they have house rental, and along the street side, how can not be a problem in the future if the duplex come up on the corner down?
So you're asking about parking, right?
Yeah, I just worry about the over parking, like, come along the street.
So there'll be, so Kurt, you want to explain again how many people will live in each unit, could potentially live in each
Yeah,
unit,
that's
how
the
many
problem we have.
parking spaces you'll have?
The units are each 2 bedroom. And there will be 2 parking spaces out front and a single car garage for each unit.
So they have parking on the property, they have to guarantee that.
Yeah. I know the rental in front of my house, there's no parking on the street.
Yeah, and people can park on the streets if they're in the parking spot. All right, any other questions from the audience?
Just real quick.
Okay, yes, ma'am.
So you're saying the parking's gonna be, they're gonna be in the garage and then back, like car to, or bumper to bumper or side?
Side by side, between the garage and the property line. You have 25 feet right here. There's your garage, there's the property line, you have 25 feet. You have another 14.5 feet to the curb. So you actually have 40 feet from the structure to the curb. Parking spaces are typically 18 feet deep. And so it's not legal, but you can actually park one behind another there.
Okay, I was just curious because I wasn't seeing that.
One more question.
Do you know anything about the management of the properties? Will there be a number we can call, if there's noise complaint, or will we be able to directly get a hold of the landlord, or will we have to call investors?
I don't know.
Yeah, and I don't think they're going to tell us something like that. Any other questions from the audience? All right, I'll bring it back to the board. Any questions for anybody from the board? Any questions? All right, I would entertain a motion now.
Make a motion that we do not accept the staff report as stated, must be rejected.
He would have to recuse himself. He made a presentation
Okay.
against.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to not approve zone 2019-00059 based on the presentation that we've seen because of the proposed land use is not in character with the surrounding neighborhood, suitability. The site also is not suitable due to the risk of flooding. And I'd like to add, in case a small family should move in, there is not enough space for children to play. I understand there's not much green space. So,
Second motion. Okay, so it's been moved and seconded. Any additional discussion from the board? All in favor of denial, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed to denial, same sign.
Cindy, can we
Okay,
see
have
if,
to
yeah,
hands. Okay, all in favor of denial of the application, please raise your hand.
Denial of the application.
No, denial of the motion, so in favor of the motion. Okay, raise your hand, you got it.
Deny, what's the vote?
Okay, this is voting yes on your motion, okay, so it is to deny, okay? So please raise your hands. 7, that's you got, and all those in favor of recommending, let's put it that way, all right? So that's 3, 7 to 3. Okay, so it is 7 to 3 to deny. Thank you all for being here. Okay, all right, moving on. Issues of concern from any of the other members? Any issues we need to take care of? Any neighborhood reports? Gina?
Yes, We opened just across the street a new place for community, new business. So we opened this February 8th. So everyone is invited to the inauguration. So 12 to whatever time.
Okay.
But after 12, pardon me?
Revolution.
No, well, we have a steakhouse just across on the street. Is that the address is 2557 North Shelton. It's just across the street in that corner. So we open a place for Zumba and different type of things. So yeah, but this our second activity. Yeah, this is February 8th. So I wish you guys can come.
All right, thank you, Tina. Any other neighborhood reports? Nothing, I have just a couple of things, a couple of zoning cases to report on. We had a conditional use to allow an accessory apartment at 831 North Forest Street. That was approved by MAPC and no protest, so that one is becoming city council, that's approved that one. And then we had an amendment to the Sweetbriar Shopping Center Community Unit Plan. And that was that storage facility at Sweetbriar. It also was approved by MAPC with no protest petitions, so that one was approved also. So and I want to just give a little bit of recognition to Angela. Last week in Topeka at the State of Kansas House of Representatives, she was awarded an honor for dedication and coordinating of events and celebrating our Hispanic culture. So I give That's right. Our next meeting is March 2nd here. I know we have 2 zoning cases, right? And we are we're seeing if the water department will come and tell us about the water treatment facility on that too. So we don't get done now, we'll see if we get done. All right, so we do not have a mid-month meeting this month. We do have 2 zoning cases for whatever reason that we're going to hear after MAPC at our next March meeting. So I don't know for sure why. That's the case, but so anyway, thank you all for coming this evening, and we'll see you next month.